You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we would take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. All we need,
Good afternoon, almost everybody. Thank you so much for coming, and welcome to the 2022 Women's Fund Luncheon. It is so good to see all of you in person after 3 years. Thank you. Let's try that again, because right now in my script it says clapping and hooting and hollering. Okay. Very good. Who knew that when we all retreated to our personal bubbles in March of 2020, it would be so long before we were all here together again? Remember those bubbles? We had to decide who would be in ours. Little did we know it would be a 2-year commitment. So let me introduce myself. I'm Lisa Malik, co-host of Local 5 Live on WFRV Channel 5. I am excited to be your mistress of ceremonies again for my 9th year. And yes, I'm counting those 2 virtual years as well. What I thought about when I got up here today was, oh, when I started doing this, I didn't need glasses. So it has been a while, and I'm happy you keep asking me back. And look at this crowd. We sold out over 1 month ago. That is pretty amazing, and a testament, yes, you deserve a round of applause for yourselves. It's a real testament to the power of all of us coming together and gathering in this space. While Julie and I did have some fun doing the virtual programming, nothing beats being here in person and the energy that we have from this sold-out crowd. We just heard Rise Up by our good friend Audra Day, and rise up as we will come together in investing, helping women and girls live their lives to the fullest. As you can see, we even have Rise on the stage today. And we want to thank our friends from Bolt for getting this word moved from down the street and placed here on the stage. Isn't that pretty cool? Yes, feel free to clap whenever whenever you get the urge. It's that kind of crowd. We have a lot to celebrate this year, and we have a jam-packed program. So to get us started, I would like to introduce and invite to the stage this year's event committee co-chairs, Cathie Solly and Teresa Knuth. Let's give them a round of applause.
Celebrate My name is Cathie Solly of Johnson Financial Group, and I'm honored to be this year's event committee co-chair. As Lisa said, there's nothing like seeing a packed ballroom. Wow. Thank you so much for all of you for being here today and celebrating with us. From all of us on the event committee, we really appreciate you being here. We want to thank you for joining us today to be a part of this amazing event, which supports the needs and celebrates the talents of local women and girls.
I'm Teresa Knuth of NAI Pfefferly, Events Committee Co-Chair with Cathie. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you and to thank you for your enthusiastic support of the Women's Fund. Cathie and I were both amazed at how quickly this luncheon sold out this year. Your enthusiasm is remarkable. We are honored that you're all here to share in this moment.
We are also thrilled to say that along with a sold-out event, we have a record number of sponsors this year. Thank you to those who come back year after year, to those who came back in person again, and to our new sponsors. Welcome to this amazing and supportive Women's Fund family. The work of the Women's Fund would not be possible without your support. And I'm going to go ahead and announce all of this year's sponsors. Please hold your applause until we have announced all of the 2022 sponsors. Once again, thank you, Community First Credit Union. Just amazing for being a presenting sponsor and Women's Fund supporter for over 20 years. U.S. Venture is once again our speaker sponsor and our partner in bringing our keynote speaker, Rima Alaily here. Thank you, sorry. We are grateful to the Community Foundation for the Fox Valley region for their continued support and all they do to strengthen our community. The Women's Fund is proud to be a part of the Community Fund family. Mosaic Family Health has been a longtime supporter and is dedicated to making our community a healthier place for all. Thank you, Mosaic Family Health. Our lead sponsors are passionate advocates for the Women's Fund, and we are grateful for their continued support and commitment. Amcor, Ascension, Associated Bank, Integrity Insurance, Lisa Germain, Kimberly Clark, Plexus, Secura Insurance Companies, and Microsoft partnering with Women in Technology. Thank you for your support of the mission of the Women's Fund and all you do for our community.
All of this year's corporate sponsors have also been with us for a number of years, and we are grateful for your generosity and support. The Bolt Company, Culvers of Darboy, Little Chute, and Grand Chute, Fox Valley Technical College, and Legacy Private Trust Company. To our many contributing sponsors, we have a mixture of longtime supporters and some new people joining us. Thank you all for recognizing the importance of investing in women and girls. If it wasn't for our in-kind sponsors, we wouldn't be able to put all of this off. Thank you for supporting the Women's Fund mission through your expertise and talents. As you can see, it really does take a community. Let's give a round of applause to these very generous companies and foundations and individuals.
Thank you also to the entire events committee who are listed in the program. I must be honest and say it would not have been as much fun this year without planning an in-person event with all of you, so thank you. Speaking of taking a community, would all Women's Fund volunteers and member of all Women's Fund committees please stand to be recognized? Events, communications, development, grants, audit, special initiatives, and our board of directors. Thank you for sharing your time and talents with the Women's Fund, not just today, but throughout the entire year.
And the designer handbag raffle is back. We have 3 amazing handbag packages, each valued at over $1,000 that you could win for only $20. We have Night on the Town, a glamorous bag with tickets to the PAC and Symphony, wine tasting for you and your friends, dinner at Rye in downtown Appleton, a hotel stay, and much more. The Wellness Inside and Out handbag has all of your pamper yourself and feel your best. This includes items and services from Nutritional Healing, Face Foundry, Wisconsin Institute of Plastic Surgery, a Y membership, and lots of great items from Shields. And the Tech Savvy bag has the latest to make you productive and efficient, and also some new gadgets you'd love, like a remarkable tablet and a Bella Beat IV health tracker. You can see a list of all of our generous raffle donors on the screen and in your program. Thank you to all of these businesses and individuals for your generous support. Raffle tickets are 3 for $20, and they come in the cool charging cord, handy to have on the go. So thank you. So you are the winners by just getting raffle tickets. If you haven't had a chance to purchase raffle tickets yet, please raise your hand, and one of our volunteers will stop by your table. The volunteers have balloons, so they are easy to spot. Wave one of them down and get your tickets. And don't leave early, you must be present to win. We will draw the winners at the end of today's program. The beautiful centerpieces at your table were created by Flower Girl Design Studio and could be yours to take home. You can purchase one for $20 by putting your payment into the envelope that is in the centerpiece and put the white bag in the center of your table. Don't have cash? Stop by the raffle table on your way out of the ballroom to pay by credit card. At your tables are contact cards. Fill those out and put them in the white bag for a chance to win 2 tickets to next year's luncheon and a beautiful necklace from Medushi Jewelry, made by Sue Whitman. You can put those cards into the white bag, or a business card will work too. We will draw the 2 winners and we'll announce them in our next email newsletter.
We also have a match opportunity this year. Once again, one of the Women's Fund founding donors has given us a special opportunity to further the impact that you make today with a $10,000 matching gift. She will match all gifts up to $10,000, and we hope we can count on you to help meet this match. You can give online right now with your credit card by going to investinher.net. Easy to remember, right? Investinher.net. There is also a white envelope at your tables to make your donation. You can complete your donation and put the envelope in the white bag in the middle of your table, or give to a volunteer when you leave. And another special opportunity, they just don't stop coming. If you made a gift of $250 or more, by next Friday, you will be entered into a drawing to win a beautiful piece of jewelry, pendant courtesy of our friends at Avenue Jewelers. This pendant is valued at $500, and it could be yours. Make a difference for women and girls, and maybe get a little something extra for yourself as well.
Who still needs raffle tickets? 3 for $20 for your chance to win one of 3 designer handbags and other valuable items valued at over $1,000. Wave your hand and we'll get a volunteer over to you, or buy them during lunch. Raffle ticket sales will end shortly after lunch, so get your tickets now. Finally, it is no small task serving lunch to over 1,000 people. So can we have a round of applause for the staff here at Appleton Hilton Paper Valley Hotel? Enjoy your lunch, and thank you again for joining us. The program will begin in about 15 minutes.
The mission of the Women's Fund is to promote the advancement of women and girls in our community, and it reflects a vision of equality where power and opportunity are not limited by gender. Each of you are playing a role in making that vision a reality by volunteering time, supporting our local nonprofit community, and advocating for solutions to the many pressing issues facing women and girls locally and regionally. The impact of the Women's Fund has never been greater. This last year, almost $160,000 was invested in women and girls in your community. This brings the investment in women and girls through the Women's Fund to more than $2 million. I think that deserves a round of applause. Thank you for being part of that. You are funding much needed change and opportunity. Your support continues to write stories of hope for women and girls. You are here today because of your belief in a more equitable world for us all. Your support today has a ripple effect, changing the life of a woman, which changes the life of a family, which strengthens our community. Invest in her. It has never been more important, and even more so after the last 2 years. Today, you will learn about the difference you're making in the lives of women and girls who are your neighbors, coworkers, family members, and friends, and how a strategic focus will lead to greater impact as we come together to invest in her. Today's presenting sponsor, Community First Credit Union, is a valued partner in the work of the Women's Fund. Community First has sponsored all 22 Women's Fund luncheons and has a permanent endowment fund within the Women's Fund to support annual grant making. I'm delighted to introduce our presenting sponsor, Cathie Tierney, President and CEO of Community First Credit Union. Let's welcome her to the stage.
Good afternoon. What a joy. On behalf of all of us at Community First, it's my pleasure to welcome you too. And as Lisa said, how fantastic is it for us to be all together? And I've never seen this ballroom so packed. This is just a testament to every one of you and the meaning of community in our special region. We're proud to be a founding sponsor of the Women's Fund Luncheon. Now at $5.2 billion in assets, a financial cooperative serving more than 150,000 member owners here in northeastern Wisconsin, our organization was founded on one simple but powerful principle, the principle of people helping people. And that's what we're here, all of us are here today to do. We're blessed to be able to make a difference for women in our community through our support of the Women's Fund. Our theme for today's luncheon, Rise, Rise Up. We're going to hear about the importance of nurturing and growing community from our amazing keynote speaker, Rima Alaily. But the past few years, as Lisa said, and we all know, have been incredibly challenging for all of us. We're here today stronger than ever. What a testament. We are not born, none of us are born with a fixed amount of resilience. It's like a muscle. We can build it up, draw on it, whenever we need it. And it's through that process that we figure out who we really are. It gives us an opportunity to become the very best versions of ourselves. Jennifer Bostic said, resilience does not involve returning to our original form. We can never be the same. What stretches us, launches us forward. What compresses, pulls from deep within us the strength to break out. Eventually, we've been through the process so many times, a reflex kicks in. You know you aren't alone. You aren't breakable. You feel the pain, you say a prayer, you make a plan, and that's when the magic happens. You can feel yourself expand with pure strength. Then you know whatever storm is coming, you will continue to rise. You are that strong. I have a deeply held belief that the circles of women around us weave invisible nets of love that carry us when we're weak, celebrate with us when we are strong. They help us to know ourselves better and to make a significant and lasting difference in our community and our world. And when we come together and our hearts connect, laughter bubbles, tears flow, we share, we learn, we grow, and we make a difference. It's the mystery and the miracle that we as women bring to the world. So thank you for being here today, for supporting one another, for supporting our community, and most of all, for supporting the very important work of the Women's Fund.
Wow, not only is it great to be back in person, I just realized that I've been shaking hands with people today. Isn't that great? Like that human touch I think we've missed for so many years. Thank you, Cathie, for your leadership and your partnership. Now I'm happy to invite to the stage Women's Fund board member Michelle Dejno and Julie Keller, Executive Director.
As Lisa said, I'm Julie Keller, Executive Director of the Women's Fund, and Lisa is right. This is a sight. Seeing you all again in this space is really incredible, and thank you all for gathering here and coming here with us today. Who knew it would be so long before we were able to do this again? So thank you. It's good to be back with all of you. I'm grateful for those of you who have stayed with us, those of you that continue to support, understood how COVID impacted women in a way we haven't seen before, and stepped up and asked, how can I make change? And during this time, the board of directors did the same. How can the Women's Fund make change to have a greater impact in a very different environment than we have ever been in our lifetime?
Hi there, I'm Michelle Dejno, and I am a Women's Fund board member and the chair of the Communications Committee. And it's exciting, and I'm honored to be here after 27 years with the organization. I am not the board chair. That is Lisa Germain, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today, so I got the call on Tuesday. So I might read, so give me a little grace. For 27 years, the Women's Fund has been active in this community, raising awareness, funding solutions, collaborating and convening to ensure to women and girls in the Fox Valley that their issues are addressed. Since its inception, the Women's Fund has supported, get this, 94 nonprofit partners, funding over 232 projects and programs, and investing over $2 million back into our community to benefit women and girls. That's awesome. With these accomplishments in mind, the Women's Fund board and staff have spent the greater part of the last year discussing the needs, the impact, and how the Women's Fund is uniquely positioned to shape solutions that address long-term social needs. Our discussions centered around how we take the resources we have and the funding that you have entrusted with us to have the greatest impact. What are the areas that need more attention for women and girls in order to make real, long-lasting impact in our community? There were many spirited and sometimes robust conversations that brought us to today, and we're excited to share the results of those conversations. Our goal was always, how can the Women's Fund use the resources entrusted in us in a focused way to achieve an even greater impact? I am proud of where we landed, and I'm so excited to put our plan into action. I'm pleased to announce that the Women's Fund and its board of directors adopted a shift in focus that will accelerate economic opportunities for women and girls, leading to their financial security, stability, and sustainability. We are excited to share how fine-tuning our focus will result in maximum impact for the women and girls here in the Fox Valley region.
I have to find my place. As many of you know, the mission of the Women's Fund is to promote the advancement of women and girls. And that reflects our vision of a community where equality and power are not limited by gender. So to best realize our mission, we will be adopting what we call this new focus, greater impact. The Women's Fund will address its resources and leadership on creating, strengthening, and accelerating economic opportunities that enable women and girls to achieve their full potential. This means that in order to remove barriers that impact women and girls to follow their own paths confidently and securely, we will focus on three main priority areas: higher and continuing education at any level, at any age, life skills, mentoring, and support, and understanding that mental wellness is a foundational element to achieve economic stability. The Women's Fund will focus on mental wellness initiatives that assist in building that foundation.
It is with this focus, and through our collective efforts, pooled resources, and our bold ideas, that we will achieve an even greater impact in improving economic conditions, creating pathways for women and girls. Please know that our guiding principles have not changed. Instead, we are focusing on what we do best and where your gifts can make the most impact. As always, we will be wise and compassionate stewards of the gifts you share with us today and moving forward with the Women's Fund. To further this action, we will lift up the network of organizations best positioned to address additional areas of need.
The Women's Fund believes that By focusing on women and girls' economic security, we have the greatest impact for long-term success. When women are financially secure, they have so many more options. Think about what economic security does for you. You have more and just better choices in your life. You can go back to school, you can start your own business, you can more easily leave an unhealthy relationship, you can start a new career, you could even run for political office. We're excited to embark on this journey with you, creating a community where women and girls thrive. Bold ideas, doing more in new and different ways, growing together. Doing more with more. One of the ways the Women's Fund has already invested in pathways to women's financial stability is through the Starting Point program, and most recently, the Mentoring Initiative. And I'm now thrilled to welcome Chris to the stage to share with you how her education and mentoring supports have helped her on a path towards a brighter future for her and her family. Please welcome Chris.
If you're anything like me, you've already kicked your shoes off under the table. Greetings, Women Fund and guests. I am Christian Blanton, 30-ish years old. Originally from the south side of Chicago and a White Sox fan. I bet you thought I would say Bears. But I now reside in Neenah, Wisconsin. I am a recent graduate of the Starting Point 2.0 workshop for 2021. Which I got an email about in 2019, but I didn't make the time then because I felt I was too old for the program. And now I am 31. However, after the pandemic came into full swing, I quickly began to look for resources to get my life back on track. Being a married mom of 4, with the addition of 2 brother-in-laws that we inherited in grief after my mother-in-law passed away from stage 4 cancer, not only did I need a dictionary on kids, I needed a thesaurus on teenage boys and their girlfriends. Starting Point seems like a simplistic thought. Go to a class and hear information you've already heard of, right? Wrong. It's having to develop some core skills like being accountable and reliable, being on time and committed, learning to ask for help appropriately, being supportive, and most importantly, being able to actively apply these concepts to your life. There's a domino effect that happens here when you get the right people in the right place at the right time, much like where we are. One of the key things with Starting Point was having believers assisting babies experiencing stress, also known as babes. I loved giving my children to Miss Hazel and Pastor Monty, and seeing them enjoy my little people as if they were their own grandkids, niece, and nephew. When I completed Starting Point, my babies Maxwell and Emily also received a certificate of completion. It was a full circle moment where I stopped and I saw that the success that I have doesn't just belong to me, it will trickle down to my children and they will have their own successes. Not often enough are we looking to our children and thinking to ourselves, are they stressed out? Bay's Family Strengthening Services shines a light in the fog and helps parents make it through the tough obstacles while giving their children nourishment, praise, and direction. For the spring semester, I took my first class in college success. During this time, I also gained a mentor through the program ConnectHER. I asked for someone who wasn't all sugar and spice and had a little bit of chemical X. And Miss Sherry Gates was just that. With the help of my mentor, Sherry, I have been connected to more supportive programs like the Wise and Way program, which helped me clear out student debt that hindered me from furthering my education. Now I am enrolled in the Human Resources degree program at Fox Valley Tech. After I earn my associates, I plan to complete my bachelor's in business administration. Kara Noack, who I want to shout out, is a counselor at Fox Valley Tech. She's helped and blessed me in many ways. The most powerful were her words of affirmation: you are worthy. With encouragement, I started a mental health and wellness group called Brooks Nook. I also partnered with past program participants to create an all-inclusive logo called FAMUnity. And I really believe that God sent women who've helped me see the value in myself and how I should be proud of all of my accomplishments thus far. Every chance I get, I tell people how wonderful these programs have been in my life. There are many other women who will come after me that need to be empowered with the wealth of knowledge that myself and others have already received. Like me, they may think they're too old, have too many kids, or too much drama, but I can tell you I truly didn't grow up until I sat down with grown women and had some real deal conversations. In life, we aim for goals to accomplish with a string of fairy tale fantasies of how we're going to get there. My goal is 10 pins and a strike. I am the ball, and everyone in this room, you are the rails, helping me and others to avoid the gutters. Let's continue this mission of accumulating good strikes with practicality and connecting women to those with better lived experience and credentials. Thank you to the Women's Fund and the donors who generously give to this and other programs. Thank you, Fox Valley Tech College, for providing this opportunity. And please connect another woman to these programs. Encourage her to stay focused and on track. Empower her to believe in herself and her family, and edify her so that she too can change the world.
Wow. Chris, I have no doubt you are going to change the world. You're already starting. Congratulations. So happy for all you've accomplished. Proud of you. Thank you for taking advantage of all the amazing resources. And we look forward to seeing the rest of your journey. Many of you are familiar with our Girls Grant-Making program, where we invite high school girls to a leadership and philanthropic experience, and they're given $10,000 to grant to organizations making an impact in an area where they identify as a priority issue for high school girls. Well, we reimagined and expanded the program this year, and we are now calling it Girl-Powered Giving. And one of these elements, new elements this year, was we gave each girl a $200 mini grant to have an impact in an area they were personally passionate about. The creative ideas they came up with were inspiring of how they wanted to use their $200 in the most impactful way, and how they could maybe leverage that as well to even create greater impact more than just that $200. So I had the privilege of meeting Maddy through this program, and I would like to invite her to the stage. Maddy was part of the Girl Powered Giving, and she's going to tell you about the chosen priority area for the girls, and she's also going to tell you about what she did with her $200 to help other girls experience what she had went through. Maddy.
Hi everyone. I want to start off by sharing my appreciation to everyone who gave me this opportunity. I'm excited to express the ways this impactful program and the Women's Fund have helped me grow this past year. Through this program, 11 girls from local high schools and I were given the opportunity to discover all about how nonprofits, philanthropy, and grant giving works. We were taught unique ways to communicate and share our opinions, while listening to and considering everyone else's. Our group was given $10,000 worth of grant money to give to a cause that we thought was most in need of it in our community. As a group, we decided that right now, teenage girls overall struggle most with their mental health. We identified a gap in helping high school girls take this first step to getting the help that they need. We focused on how girls in our community need better access to these resources that will help them before the situation becomes a crisis. We wanted to address this issue in a less intimidating way, so girls become more likely to reach out and take that difficult first step. The group of girls and I decided to split the grant money between two recipients who applied for the grant to help meet this need. The first recipient was Exceptional Equestrians Mental Health Matters Equine Therapy Program for Mothers and Daughters. A lot of the girls go to their mom for support, and strengthening this relationship we felt was important, not just for the daughter, but also for the mom. The other recipient was Ebb and Flow Connections Cooperatives to launch a Youth Emotional CPR, or ECPR, program that teaches youth how to support a peer experiencing an emotional crisis. It can be less intimidating to go to a peer rather than an adult for struggling teens, so we wanted to help provide that less intimidating option. The Youth ECPR program can help teens support other teens, spreading the knowledge that those who participate in the Youth ECPR program learn onto more teens, creating a ripple effect, reaching many more than just those who did the program. Throughout our selection of these grant recipients, the intention was to better girls' mental health and wellness across the Fox Valley in a way outside of typical therapy, providing better support for them in multiple environments. We also hope to help provide an easier way for teenagers to speak up sooner and get help with their mental health. In addition to the group grant, we girls were also given $200 each to spend on some kind of mini grant. Everyone's mini grants were extremely impressive and have a big impact on the community. I'm going to tell you about mine and the backstory of it. I have struggled with mental illnesses and was in and out of hospitals for over a year straight the year before this one. I have been in intensive outpatient programs, a partial hospitalization program, inpatient, residential treatment, on over 10 medications, in different types of therapy, and tried many other things to help. There were so many things wrong with my mind, and it seemed like every different medication I tried, I only lost more of myself and became more unstable. My never-ending thoughts and profound mood swings controlled and destroyed me. It was a long, hopeless, horrible nightmare of a journey, but I have come to a place where I've learned all the skills I need to finally be happy and comfortable in my head and skin. It is hard to be in those strange environments for so long when getting treatment. It felt like being trapped in an oubliette, where everyone had forgotten that I existed. While I understand that environments like this must be this way, psychiatric hospitals still feel extremely overstimulating and can be a traumatizing place to be in, where you are only allowed access to very few of your own items due to safety hazards toward yourself and others. I wanted to use this $200 to help make mental hospitals a more comfortable place so it was easier for kids to feel safe and ready to get better, so they did not feel so trapped, forced, and alone through this arduous period in their life. During one of my inpatient stays, I was given a Build-A-Bear when I got there. One night, I was laying alone in this unfamiliar room under the scratchy, thin safety blanket, hallucinating devil figures around the room and hearing that voice inside me scream and force disgusting thoughts into my mind. The Build-A-Bear gave me a sense of comfort, something to hold on to, unlike the unfamiliar safety bedding, and something else that was more familiar to normal life outside of the hospital that I could focus my thoughts on instead. It reminded me of home, and it reminded me that I will get better and back to my old self again. I wanted to provide this sense of familiarity and support to other struggling kids as well, to give them something to smile about and something more positive to think about. Throughout Girl Powered Giving, when I was told that I would have the opportunity to do a mini grant of some kind, I wanted to use my talents to do something bigger with my life, to help with something I was passionate about. I wanted to make mental hospitals a better place and help other kids like how a donation of Build-A-Bears to a mental hospital had helped me. Every day now, I looked at the stuffed animal that I received and am reminded of my strength and growth. I wanted to be able to help make other kids' journey a little more positive, to give them hope that maybe someday when they are better, they too can help kids who are in the same spot that they were. I decided to use my love for painting to hand paint canvas tote bags. I was able to sell over 180 bags and raise $5,069.95. Thank you. This allowed me to buy 274 Build-A-Bears to give to mental hospitals so other kids have something to hold on to feel that sense of comfort and hope. I'm grateful for the Girl Powered Giving program's inspiration and push for me to start this project. My parents' support, Nina schools, my work in church, all allowing me to sell my bags there, and the help of other staff at my school. Due to my mental health, I haven't been involved in much throughout high school so far. I was always too anxious to try anything new. I cannot express how thankful I am that I decided to push myself out of my comfort zone to try Girl Powered Giving. This program has taught me about philanthropy, which before I had never even heard the word, showed me that there are so many ways to help others. It has helped me gain my confidence in myself and to branch out. It has shown me that there is more to life than staying inside my comfort bubble, how such great things can come out of shitty situations, and that pushing through social anxiety and my intrusive thoughts can be worth it. Already, this program has helped push me to learn better communication skills, helped push me to get a new job, helped me to love painting again, helped push me to finally try some new activities this upcoming school year, and has given me an opportunity to feel special and like I was able to make a little difference in the big world we live in. Girl Powered Giving has given me a new outlook on life, a willing, adventurous, ambitious, powerful, excited, confident, and optimistic one. It has truly helped me to face, accept, and grow from my past, and I have already continued to sell my bags for this cause and hope to continue to in the future. This program has allowed me to make beauty from the junk my mind throws at me. It has shown me that there are so many ways to improve the world around you, and I cannot be more thankful. You just have to take that first step and challenge your mind. It'll be hard, but I promise it is so, so worth it.
Thank you, Maddy. She's an impressive young woman, and your journey of growth and personal discovery is inspiring to us all, and we know you will go far as well. So thank you so much for being part of this program with us. The stories and experiences of Chris and Maddy just give you a taste of how the focus on education, life skills, mentoring and support, and mental health and wellness can impact women and girls, change their lives, change the family, and change our community. We're excited to put our strategic focus into action and the lives that will be changed. Thank you for going on this journey with us, and we can only have impact when we do it together. Bring Lisa back to the stage.
Just chatting like I always am with our next guest. All right, thank you so much, Chris and Maddy, for sharing your stories with us today. You know what, I think it's so cool that we have someone who is maybe outside her comfort zone because of her age and someone who is so young, and it just shows how the Women's Fund can affect women of all ages in our community. So thank you to you both. And I love that I laughed and then I felt the tears coming. They come every year. I want to say congrats to the Women's Fund, that is, for your new strategic direction. I know I speak for 1,006 others in this room. We are all excited for the impact on our community. And we are almost to the woman of the hour. I am pleased to introduce Dawn Ruchala, a representative for this year's speaker sponsor, U.S. Venture, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Side note, we weren't chatting. I was going to ask if I pronounced your name right. Okay, good. All right, let's give Dawn a welcome round.
Thank you. On behalf of U.S. Venture, we are honored to be the sponsor of today's speaker and a longtime supporter of the Women's Fund. For more than 70 years, U.S. Venture has been a leader in global distribution of transportation consumables. Our work enables us to support the communities where we live, work, and play. Last year alone, we had a philanthropic impact exceeding $20 million. And just last month, thank you. And just last month at the U.S. Venture Open, with support from many of you in this room, together we raised $4.8 million to end poverty in Northeast Wisconsin. Four years ago, we embarked on creating our women's network, She Ventures. We are now 225 team members strong and work to connect, find balance, and develop both professionally and personally. We know that providing this network of women supporting women also helps our communities, where we can in turn make a difference in the lives of women and girls in our community, like we've heard pretty strongly from Maddy and Chris already today. Now, I'd like to introduce another female difference maker. Rima Alaily is a proud Appleton native and graduate of Appleton East High School. Today, she lives in Washington State and serves as Corporate Vice President and Deputy General Counsel in the Corporate, External, and Legal Affairs Department at Microsoft Corporation. Rima is a wife and mother of 2 teenage boys. She and her family enjoy exploring the outdoors of the Pacific Northwest, downhill skiing, watching sports, and traveling, oftentimes back here to Wisconsin's Lake Country. Rima spent her early childhood living abroad in Egypt and Saudi Arabia. As an American there, she enjoyed a privileged existence that starkly contrasted against pockets of extreme poverty, inequality, and rampant discrimination, particularly against women. It made a lasting impression on her. As a result, Rima is passionate about giving back to her community and ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to thrive. She has been a longstanding advocate for diversity and inclusion within Microsoft and in the legal profession. Throughout her legal career, she has worked with a variety of local and national organizations to provide free legal representation to those in need, with a particular focus on domestic violence victims, veterans, and children who are facing immigration proceedings alone. She is also a member of the board of directors for the Endowment for Equal Justice that provides ongoing financial support for civil legal aid organizations in Washington State. Please join me in welcoming Rima back to Appleton.
Thank you so much, Dawn. That was a very kind introduction. It is a real honor to be here today as your keynote speaker, and quite frankly, it's an honor to follow speakers like Chris and Maddy, who gave such inspiring words, and have had such amazing experiences funded and fueled by the Women's Fund. It's been several years since I've been in Appleton, and yesterday on my way here, I took the opportunity to stop and visit at Titletown Tech up in Green Bay. It's a partnership between Microsoft and the Green Bay Packers, and I had the chance to talk with community leaders in the area. And I was so energized, quite frankly, and inspired by the work that is being done by so many to leverage technology to create new economic opportunities in this area. And today, it's been a thrill to see so many familiar faces in the audience and to reconnect. This is an incredible event, not just for the cause, which is a critically important one, as all of you are hearing about today, but also for the opportunity that it gives to bring the community together. That's important every year, but quite frankly, it's even more important this year. It's been 3 years since this event was held in person. And as much as I appreciate the online video conferencing technology that has kept us all connected over the last couple of years, quite frankly, if I am never on another Zoom or Teams call, I will not be sad. But that connection and that coming together over common cause is really what I want to talk with you about today. If you'll bear with me, I'd like to start by sharing a little bit of my own story. Although decades have passed, I will never forget my 7th grade year. I moved to Appleton, Wisconsin in 7th grade. It was 1984. That probably betrays my age. I did not know anyone. You know, nobody knew me. I had a strange name that nobody could pronounce, and I came from a strange place. My family had, for most of my childhood, lived abroad. My father is Lebanese. He was born and raised in Lebanon. And like most immigrants, he came to the United States to pursue a college education and to seek economic opportunity. He met and married my mother, an Appleton native, and for more than a decade, they hopped from one country to another, hoping that the civil war raging in Lebanon would finally cool enough to allow them to return and build a life in that country. In the early 1980s, we were living in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It was a challenging place to live, even more so then than it is now. Each summer, we would return to Wisconsin and retreat to our A-frame cabin up at Legend Lake in Shawano. Being there gave us a chance to spend time with my maternal grandparents and our extended family and friends who lived nearby in the Fox cities. And it enabled us to escape the oppressive heat and boredom of the summers on the Arabian Peninsula. In the summer of 1984, my mom sat my brother and I down and told us that she and my father had unexpectedly stumbled across an exciting business opportunity. And they were tired of waiting for peace in Lebanon and eager for a path out of Saudi Arabia. So they decided to seize it. We were staying. And in a matter of weeks, my life was turned upside down. We had a new home in a new town, and I was enrolled in a new school. The following year at James Madison Junior High School in Appleton was hard for me. I believe it is universally understood and accepted that 7th grade sucks. On top of the sort of usual raging hormones and rampant insecurities that addle the brain of just about every 7th grader, including me, I felt like a fish out of water. I was different from everyone at a time when being the same as everyone was the most important thing. But in time, it changed. In time, I built connections and I built community. I developed a broad network of friends. I joined sports teams and clubs, and equally important, I received appreciation and recognition from teachers, from coaches, and others for my achievements and success. I found a sense of belonging. And today, I'm deeply appreciative of the gifts of this community. It gave me a strong public education with equal parts challenge and fun. I think many of you in this room know or know of my boss, Brad Smith, the president and vice chair of Microsoft. We both happened to grow up in Appleton. We were a decade apart, and we did not meet until I joined the company. And yet many of our childhood experiences paralleled one another. The other day we were talking, and our conversation drifted to our memories of Appleton. We talked at length about high school. He graduated from Appleton West. I graduated from Appleton East. And after we stopped arguing about which school was better, and forgive me, but Appleton North did not exist at the time, we were both struck by the formative role that high school debate team played for each of us. We laughed comparing notes about late nights logged in the local library, weekends trekking from one competition to another, and the silly arguments that we hurled at our opponents while speaking at lightning speed. We both went on to elite institutions of higher education, and of course, we both ended up at Microsoft, drawn by the challenge and the opportunity for impact. My colleagues on our senior leadership team often joke and ask, what's in the water at Appleton, Wisconsin? But I know it's our experiences here that laid our foundation for and enabled our success. Now, Appleton also gave me a safe, healthy, and clean environment filled with open public spaces to play and breathe. It was such a contrast to the crowded cities where I spent the earliest days of my childhood. In Saudi Arabia, we lived behind 24-foot walls. It was not safe for young girls to play out in the street. And I still remember well my very first bike, a Fiji 10-speed, and the freedom of riding it aimlessly through the neighborhoods in Appleton. Sledding with friends at Reed Golf Course, taking long walks at High Cliff, moments of joy and wholesome fun and contemplation that provided me with balance and space. In the always-on digital world that we live in today, those analog moments, as my brother would say, are vital. My family also found economic opportunity in the Fox cities. My parents were entrepreneurs here in Appleton, and together they built and ran a set of walk-in hair salons. I got my first job there as a receptionist, and their success over the years enabled our family to thrive and provided me with the means to pursue my dreams. And so almost 4 decades later, despite having lived and traveled around the world and planting and growing my own family in Seattle, Washington, I still call Appleton home. It will always be the place that I am from. But as I reflect on my journey from there to here, the sense of community that I first discovered in Appleton has been a continuous thread throughout. But it has evolved and matured along the way. As a child, it was the feeling of belonging and the deep sense of happiness that comes from social connection. But now as an adult, it also includes the belonging that comes from making an effort to collaborate. It's a subtle difference, but an important one. It is learning the value of giving up a piece of myself for the whole. And this insight has been on my mind this past year. As we think about the challenges facing us collectively now and into the future, building community, A community willing to give up the me for the we will be critical. And yet I'm increasingly concerned about where we are and where we find ourselves. I work in an industry that is ostensibly all about connection, the technology industry. My role as a lawyer at Microsoft over the last 14 years has given me a front row seat to the evolution of technology and its infiltration into, and frankly, transformation of every aspect of our lives. When I joined the company, Google was an upstart. The like button did not exist. Amazon was a novelty bookstore, and the iPhone was a curious and overpriced toy. The evolution of technology since then has been wondrous. I can find the answer to just about every question in seconds. I have more computational power in my pocket than did all the racks of computers that sent men to the moon. And I can share the ups and downs of my days instantaneously with friends and relatives across the country and the world. Yet in this world of hyperconnection, we have never been so disconnected. Although the internet was once a way of connecting with people with different views, the algorithmic-based information feeds today only serve to isolate each of us from views different than our own. We are filtered into bubbles. And our preconceptions are not challenged on the web, they are only reinforced. And the filter bubbles that characterize the virtual world are increasingly being reproduced in the physical world. To paraphrase New York Times columnist David Brooks, we don't just want podcasts, posts, and tweets from the people we like, we also want to live near people like us. As the US has gotten more diverse, racial and ethnic segregation has accelerated. More than 80% of large metropolitan areas in the US were segregated in 2019 than they were 3 decades ago. And people are increasingly sorting themselves out by political affiliation. Republican places are becoming more Republican, Democratic places are becoming more Democratic. People are losing touch with others in opposing and now distant camps. Social institutions are also on the decline. Membership and involvement in civic associations stood at a high point in the mid-century, but they've plummeted and now sit at the lowest levels in more than a century. Americans are dropping out of organized community life, and 2 years of social isolation and separation in the global pandemic has only amplified these trends. If 80% of living is showing up, we are not. The consequences of our disconnection are profound at the individual and societal level. Loneliness is on the rise, and the rates of depression and anxiety, particularly among youth, are increasing. Substance abuse and suicide rates continue to climb, and trust in social institutions is frayed, and the level of polarization in our country is feeding a discourse of hate and blame in our political life. Now, admittedly, these are hard times. The confluence of events that we are grappling with and will continue to grapple with over the decade are significant. We're experiencing rates of inflation that we have not seen in 50 years. The first major war between European nations in 70 years, a worldwide pandemic the likes of which we haven't seen in 100 years, rapid changes in technology that we have not seen since the Second Industrial Revolution, and the effects of climate change on a scale we've not experienced in 10,000 years. It's a little bit overwhelming. So what do? How do we build connection and community to uplift one another, to enable all of us to thrive, and to navigate an increasingly turbulent world? I'll share my perspective, recognizing that for many of you in this room, it may be an affirmation of what you already know and are already striving to do. So 3 things. 1, start locally, in the place you are. Technology has brought the world into our living rooms and frankly into our pockets. It's easy to get distracted by it, to focus on national politics and events in far-flung regions, but the place where we can have the most influence, where we can make the most change, is the place where we live. That means investing to enable everyone in our community to succeed through hard work and creativity and to lead a life of meaning and dignity. This is not just a feel-good message, but it's one grounded in hard economic reality. When I joined Microsoft, I was blown away by the company's commitment to philanthropy. Microsoft's employee giving program, launched in 1983, has generated almost $2 billion for nonprofit organizations. And the company has invested hundreds of millions of dollars to respond to a variety of problems, including natural disasters, affordable housing, STEM education, and racial justice. Why? Well, it's not a question of liberal politics gone amok. It's simply good business. After all, what are our communities but the places where our employees and our customers live and work today and tomorrow? Investing in those communities and supporting our collective well-being ensures our long-term economic success. This kind of work is happening here. You know, as I was preparing for this luncheon, I had the opportunity to meet and talk with a number of community leaders. You know, groups like the New North and African Heritage that are working to uncover hidden talent in our communities. Groups like Imagine Fox Cities that are harnessing the power of individuals from the ground up to collectively create a vision for the future in which they are seen and represented. And the Appleton Public Library, which is modernizing and expanding itself to provide the physical space where the community can come together. I'm optimistic that this good work will continue and bring all local voices to the table to define and take action. It's so critical. The second thing is to show up, just like so many of you are doing here today. That means ultimately service to others, service that seeks to understand and empower the recipient, not service that's designed to tell them what to do. These acts of service create connection and they build empathy. You know, I was drawn to the law because of its power to deliver justice on behalf of those injured and oppressed. Now, I'm not naive. I understand the law can be abused. After all, Jim Crow, the system of racial segregation and discrimination that ruled the South for over 100 years, was created and enforced through the legal system. But the law can also be a powerful tool of liberation, whether for a class of people or a single individual. Now, many lawyers volunteer their services pro bono, meaning without charge to those who cannot afford representation. I started providing pro bono representation as a student in law school and continued to do so throughout my career. I've represented women fleeing domestic violence, veterans seeking medical benefits, families desperate to keep a roof over their head, and young migrant children facing the Byzantine immigration process on their own. These experiences and the victories along the way have been amongst the most rewarding of my professional career, not because they were hard. After all, most only required a basic knowledge of the legal system and the law and advocacy skills that every lawyer learns, but rather because they opened my eyes to the experiences and perspectives vastly different than my own. And they gave me the opportunity to use my talents, skills, and privileges to make a meaningful difference in the life of another. And that service created connection and built empathy. Now, third is to listen to each other. Not simply to hear, but with humility and vulnerability essential to truly learn and appreciate the experience and perspective of one another. When I began my legal career, I focused on learning just about everything I could. I thought success was born from expertise and knowledge, being the smartest person in the room. But time has taught me a powerful lesson. There's a lot I don't know, and there's even more I will never know. In my career, I've worn many hats. I've switched from a law firm to a company. I've moved from a specialist practice to a generalist and back. I've led nonprofit community organizations. And as the challenge grew more complex, and with each rung of the corporate ladder that I ascended, I discovered it was harder and harder to know everything, to be the expert. But my value add, my superpower, was the ability to tap into the power of others by listening and learning from them. And my job as a leader was to create space and opportunity for everyone else to contribute. Because the solutions to the problems we faced need collective talents, expertise, and know-how to solve. And at times, through listening, I discovered that, in fact, I shouldn't lead, that somebody else was better placed to do the job. Now, when I left for college in 1990, the Women's Fund did not exist. And yet today, more than 1,000 of us have gathered here today to support the organization and to invest in the well-being of women in the Fox cities. Women represent half the population. That may seem like an obvious fact, but the import behind that fact is often overlooked. When women are left behind, when women fail to thrive, our societies cannot meet their potential. It's like an engine running on half of its power. And to that end, the Women's Fund is doing necessary and important work to create opportunity for women, to open up pathways for financial stability, teach life skills through mentoring programs, and support the mental health of women. It is local, it enables service, and it is built on listening to each other. It is precisely the kind of community building that is needed in cities across this country. In closing today, I wanted to share a poem by Gwendolyn Brooks. And for those of you who are not familiar with her work, she was an American poet, author, and teacher. And her work often dealt with the personal celebrations and struggles of ordinary people in the community. This poem is about African-American singer and radical activist Paul Robeson, and the last few lines seem so right now. That time, we all heard it, cool and clear, cutting across the hot grid of the day, the major voice, the adult voice foregoing rolling river, foregoing tearful tale of bale and barge and other symptoms of an old despond, warning in music words devout and large, that we are each other's harvest, we are each other's business, we are each other's magnitude and bond. Thank you.
I'm not interrupting that applause. Thank you so much for coming home. Isn't it wonderful to claim her as one of our own from Appleton? I'm going to invite Julie Keller up now, Executive Director of the Women's Fund, back to the stage.
Thank you, Rima. That was inspiring. We could all use that message today, and you did just a wonderful job. Thank you so much for all your time you took to come here to Appleton, to see this community again, to re-experience it, to go to some old haunts, I'm sure. So reconnect with a high school friend I know. So thank you so much, and we admire you and all you do for all of our communities, and for inspiring us today with that message. So thank you. So what do you think of the walk-up music this year? We're trying to think something different. So I'm a baseball fan. I've always been intrigued by walk-up music. I don't know why. I wonder, like, how do they choose it? Like, what part of the song? So anyway, so it's a fun element we're trying here today. Thank you to Will from AVM and Mike. They're in the back there. They're making all this happen. Our camera guy, the camera guy. I'm sorry. I need to know the camera guy's name. Adam, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all back there. My relatively newer colleague, Terry St. Lawrence, is back there as well. We're working the PowerPoint, so thank you, Terry. This is her first luncheon, so if we haven't scared her off, she'll be back next year. So thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. As you heard earlier, the response has been overwhelming, and if you look around the room, you can see that. We're sold out over a month ago. Your response, your enthusiasm has just been incredible. Testament to the importance of being with others in the community and having a belief in the work of the Women's Fund. And as Rima said, how fortunate we are to have a Women's Fund in our community. Thank you to 106 donors who got this thing started 27 years ago. Hope today has inspired and energized you. Only by working together in community can we create a better today and a better tomorrow for women and girls. A lot has happened since we were last gathered in this room. So while we were away, the Women's Fund celebrated its 25th anniversary. It celebrated its 20th annual luncheon, its first virtual luncheon. We surpassed, as you heard before, $2 million in investing into the community to benefit women and girls. The 100th women graduated from the Starting Point and Empower program. We launched a mentoring program called ConnectHER. We conducted a survey of the impact of COVID on women in Northeast Wisconsin with our sister women's funds in the region. And as you heard earlier, we streamlined our focus and priorities so that together we can all have the greatest impact like Maddy and Chris shared with us today. And many others who have benefited from programs and projects supported by the Women's Fund. And one of the newest projects the Women's Fund is working on and participating in is a community initiative called the Monthlies Project. And it's to address period poverty in the Fox Valley and the educational equalities it creates. Yes, period poverty happens right here in the Fox Valley. So go to monthliesprojects.com to learn more and learn about an event, kickoff event in October 6th, that we are really excited about. So another initiative that is important to address in our community. So like some of you, last Friday evening I was watching the US Open tennis tournament and what would turn out to be Serena Williams' last match. The match was incredible. The final game was incredible. 7 or 8 match points. Serena kept fighting back, true as she has always done over her career. Both players played with grit and grace, and they handled their unusual circumstances they found themselves in with grace. As I was watching the interviews afterwards, I noted what the winner of the match said. Ala Tomljanovic, an Australian. She said, when asked about Serena's impact on the game, she said, "No dream is too big. It doesn't matter where you come from, the circumstances. You can do anything if you believe in yourself." So my guess is she wasn't just talking about Serena's remarkable career, but also what she just went through. Safe to say, most people in that stadium were not rooting for her. In fact, many were booing her successes and celebrating her misses. Circumstances were far less than ideal. She didn't have that crowd support she needed to win that match, but she did have a dream and a belief in herself, and her dream wasn't too big. Either was Serena's dream, who began her professional tennis playing career 27 years ago at the age of 14. Now I ask you to continue to make big dreams a reality for women and girls, no matter their circumstances. Even if they don't have belief in themselves, we all have belief in them, and we all are here cheering them on. So let's rise together, not just for women and girls, but for an entire community, for your community. So today I'm asking you to consider a gift to the Women's Fund. We can continue to make a difference when we rise together, when we invest in her. Today you heard about lives changed with Chris's story. You heard about a young woman who found her voice, her purpose through Maddy's story. These are just 2 of the lives changed for women and girls who have found their path because of your support. Today we have a match, as you heard about, from a generous founding donor. Each year she continues to offer this match because she believes in the power of the Women's Fund, and she doesn't even live in this community anymore, but she still offers this match to all of us here today. So please join us in helping to meet this $10,000 match by making your donation today. And the Avenue Jewelers piece, it's always nice to have a little extra incentive, right? So $250 by this time next Thursday, September 15th, you'll be entered into a drawing. Thanks to our friends at Avenue Jewelers for donating this beautiful piece to us. Easiest way is to get out your phones, go to investinher.net, make an online gift today. If you'd rather not give online, there's envelopes at your tables. You can place those in the bags and on your tables, and we'll have volunteers collect those, and however you choose to give, in whatever amount. The important thing is that you are choosing to give and invest in her, and we are most grateful. So this quote from Melinda Gates may look familiar, and I didn't choose it because of our speaker today. I use this quote often, and it really talks about why we are here, why we do this work, why we continue to strive to do more to have greater impact. When we invest in women and girls, we're investing in the people who invest in everyone else. And everyone saw that investment, especially this past 2 years. Everybody saw women front and center, doing what they had to do for themselves, for their families, for their work. So let's all rise together and continue to invest in her. Thank you.
Aren't we lucky to have Julie, too? You're giving a shout out to everybody else, but she gets some too, some love. Invest in her. Powerful words and a great call to action for all of us here today. Go online right now if you haven't already, investinher.net, or fill out the white envelope at your table to make a donation and then put it in the small bag on your table, or hand to a volunteer when you leave. Or you can take that envelope home and even consider a donation to mail back. Your support here today means hope, opportunity, equality. Your support changes lives. Please consider giving. I know it's been a couple of years, but if memory serves me right, we got another piece of business to take care of, Julie, right? She's carrying a box of tickets in disguise here. All right, we are going to do our raffles. I'm going to take this off.
Everybody get your tickets out.
All right, get out the tickets. Do you want to say which one is first?
Sure. We have Night on the Town. So this is one with the tickets to the Performing Arts Center, the Symphony, a hotel stay, get a little wine tasting in there. So we have, and lots of other fun goodies. So Lisa.
Oh, you're going to make me choose.
Oh.
All right. We have ticket 12173375. Feel free to give a big hoot and holler when it's, there we go. All right, congratulations to you. Do you want her to come up or?
You can take your ticket to the raffle out in the lobby. So congratulations.
All right.
Okay.
All right, our second package, Julie, is?
Do you want me to do it? Oh, yeah, sorry. Wellness, I'm so excited to draw. Wellness Inside and Out. So we have Wellness Studio, Nutritional Healing, YMCA. So lots of fun things in that package as well.
Yeah, you can draw this one.
You want me to draw this one? You have to read it because you have your glasses.
Okay.
There you go.
Are you saying you're going to need glasses here next year too? All right, the number here is 121-72809. There we go. All right. Congrats to you. Of course, we have to do a tech-savvy basket.
A tech-savvy basket, exactly. So we had our friends at Women in Technology put this together for us, and there's some really cool things in there. So you want to do this one? You do the final one. Looking away. Don't look. Just draw one.
I wanted to give away 2 of those. All right, we have 121-728. I know, I'm hearing yes. Aw. The last 2 numbers are 76. So 121. Oh, wow, someone is spot on already. Congratulations to our raffle winners. Congratulations to all of you for supporting women and girls in our community. We'd like to thank all of our speakers here today. It was so inspirational. Stay connected to the Women's Fund on social media to see pictures from today and other updates about important work being done in our community. And we'll see you next year. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Let's go, girls.
Come on. I'm going out tonight. I'm feeling alright. Gonna let it all hang out. Wanna make some noise. Really raise my voice. Yeah, I wanna scream and shout. Feel like a woman. The girls need a break tonight. We're gonna take the chance to get out on the town. We don't need romance, we only wanna dance. We're gonna let our hair hang down. The best thing about being a woman is the prerogative to have a little fun. Oh, 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 they're totally crazy. Forget them a lady. Men, shirt, short skirts. Oh, 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 really go wild at you and that in style. Oh, 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 get in the action. Feel the attraction. Cover my head, do what I dare. Oh, 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 I wanna be free, yeah. Feel the way I feel. Man, I feel like a woman.